Hello, and welcome back. Today I'm going to be bringing you a quick video that was requested by some people on the Reddit. They were asking me how to survive Cleaves. One was specifically as a rogue, so I'll kind of dive into how you can play against Cleaves and like what's the best way to survive, and I can give a couple of tips generally for just rogue. But like, on the whole, this video is going to be like a how do you not die to them. I've got some turbo gameplay from last night in the background, which is conveniently a Cleave play, so you can kind of see how to survive against it. In this clip, we kill the monk really quick because he's running relentlessness, so yeah, that's fun. But how to play against a Cleave. A Cleave, especially like Turbo, TSG, Vanguards, a lot of that stuff, it's based around momentum and keeping uptime and keeping damage ticking out. So what does that mean and how you're supposed to play against it? It means to play against it, you have to stop the momentum. And you can do that in a number of different ways. One of those is crowd control. So if you've got roots, if you have any form of snare, any CC that you can toss out and get on them, it's really good to do. This is it's especially important when doing it in their cooldowns. So limiting their cooldowns and how much damage they can do and how long they can stick onto people is really, really crucial. Now, see, I was asked specifically by somebody who plays a rogue, how do I stay alive as a rogue when they're on me? You need to make sure that you have cooldowns if they're going you. What you really need to make sure that you don't do is get hit by AoE CC and then get cleaved down by AoE damage and having to pop something like evasion early when they're not actually on you. Because evasion as a defensive cooldown, specifically against warriors and a lot of melee classes that are doing physical damage, is a huge cooldown because they'll be missing everything. Now it's really crucial to have these huge defensive cooldowns to match up with the CDs of the melee DPS that are up against you, because for the most part you should be able to kite, and your healer is going to be able to heal through any damage that they put on you outside of cooldowns, assuming that they don't get a huge amount of CC, which they don't really have because they're playing Cleaves. So a Cleave is based around momentum, and you just need to slow that down, whether that's running around a pillar and just kiting for a bit of time, kiting their burst. That's a really good way of making sure that you do well against a Cleave. Communicating well with your healer and making sure that you don't kite them onto your healer is another good one. I talked about this in general positioning. You don't want to kite a melee Cleave directly onto your healer, because then it just gives them someone who they can blow up. Now, another way of sort of avoiding all of it is making sure that you don't waste closes or waste things that you can use to get away. Because say if you're playing a mage and I'm playing the mage, I come out of stealth to get a polymorph, but then I like blink and then blink again to try and like confirm a polymorph, or I blink to get to cast my polymorph, and I blink again to get a CS. Then a warrior who will be running double charge against you has 2 charges to your 0 blinks. So even if you manage to root and get away from him, he's going to be able to have a charge as soon as that root breaks. And then maybe you get a charge, but you get a blink proc up, and you blink, and then he charges and gets to you immediately. And then from then on, he essentially has a charge for every one of your blinks, and you're pretty screwed. Like, you're not going to be able to do it. This is the same for every other class. You have escapes and you need to match them. If you're chasing after someone, you need to match your mobility with their mobility. But if you're running away from someone, what you want to do is make sure that they have to use their mobility to get to you when you haven't used yours. And you can do that with roots, with CC. Like, say, for example, kidney shotting someone and then stepping to somebody else and running, or vanishing and then going far away, and they have to use a heroic leap and a charge to get to you, and then you manage to just get away, and then he has nothing left to get you, and then you are a-okay. That's how you live against Cleaves. Cleaves are really simple to play and are also very simple to counter, but they are very, very strong. When it comes down to other comps where you have lots of CC that you need to avoid, and the kicking is really crucial to get, the comp may be harder to play because the CC is harder to get, but it's also harder to counter in a way. So if you learn how to counter a cleave and you're like, okay, I know that there's a lust every minute and I need to save my shockwave for that lust, then you just peel it every time. I played against a Thunder team that peeled us really well because every single time we lusted, he hex totemed on top, hex totem and roots. So we had a really slow walk out of the hex totem, wasted a huge bit of time of our lust. It's simple ways like that you can think of, that you can see everyone's going to have a bit of kit to help you survive. Whether if that's like frost mage roots, putting your poison slows on people, even if you have to use a stun but it puts on DR but you get away and then you kite their entire cooldowns, and then you can go back in and start doing damage for free. And it's kind of like almost like a chess moves type game. You want to get CDs out of them without you having to use your CDs. So like you only really want to be popping them in response, your defensive cooldowns in response to offensive burst. If you pop defensive cooldowns when they haven't bursted, you're going to die once your defensive cooldowns run out and they burst, because it's not going to be enough to really like defend through it. I see here in the clip that just went through, it's like the lock uses port, but we had matching to it. The druid got caught in CC, and the shadow priest was mind controlling late, or was just probably mind controlling our healer instead of the damage. It's really crucial that you do it, and like this isn't a necessarily very high MMR match, but like you can see that you don't need to do too much perfectly right to do well at these MMRs. You need to do the majority of what you need to do as the comp correctly. Whereas the higher you get, it's so at the bottom of your brackets, in the lower brackets, it's who can do the most right, and that's how you end up winning. When it starts getting past a certain point where people are doing a lot right, it's who does the least wrong. So, like, are you messing up things? Are you missing kicks? Are you wasting CC? Are you doing stuff that's all in things incorrectly? Whereas the other thing is just making sure that you're playing your comp correctly. So this could be the difference in between you have a TSG at 1500 that just runs after a healer, and then you have a team at 1800 that's gripping in the healers, then going them, or gripping in the healer, AoE stunning and killing two people at once if they're frost, or stunning the healer while they go the DPS and things like that, and like playing the actual things that make the comp good was the other one. So I know that was just very much about, and I wandered away from the topic there, but I hope that helps with being able to get around, get away from cleaves. I'll go into a bit more detail about how to deal with other comps such as like double caster or melee caster. But I think if you can grab anything out of this video, it's definitely watch CCs and make sure you're matching CC. Watch CDs and make sure you're matching CDs with CDs. So offensives are popped, defensives that are equal to that are popped, because you don't want to be popping a 3-minute defensive cooldown on a 1-minute offensive cooldown. That doesn't actually do that much. So for example, as a warrior, I can go defensive stance and mitigate a significant amount of damage. I don't want to go defensive stance, pop rallying cry, and parry, die by the sword, when there's only one person attacking me with half cooldowns. I save that whole thing for when my healer's in CC and 2 people are bursting on me. That is the only time I use it, because I get 100% parry, 30% damage reduction, plus the damage reduction from defensive stance, plus an additional 20% health, and then I put like Spell Reflect up if it's a caster class. That's how you do it. And I hope this was helpful. I'm going to try and get another video up as well. We're going to be talking about what it takes to push, what's some good habits to do that, and if you have any other ideas or anything you specifically want me to cover, like somebody asked me to cover how to last against a cleave, I'll happily do that. And I appreciate all the support, and I hope this is really helping out people. And I'll see you next time. Peace. Hello there, and thanks for watching my video. Make sure to subscribe if you like what you see, and like if you liked it, dislike if you don't. Please comment to let me know what you want to see in the future, and make sure to come tune in and watch me on Twitch. I'm live from 12 a.m. or 12 midnight GMT for normally about 6 hours playing a whole bunch of games. Hopefully, I'll see you there.